Oh, what a beautiful day. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day as well. We're going to be talking about ships today. And I love the ships in this game. Really. I can't wait to talk about them with you. Let's start. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Anno 1800 Beginner's Guide series. Thank you all so very much for being here, for telling me how these guides have been helping you out in your gameplay, and also your input is very important. I love that. I love it when people are also talking and giving me ideas and giving each other ideas. That's what this whole thing's about. If you are new here, I'd very much appreciate it if you consider giving the channel a shot. I'm very active on growing it and would definitely like to make this a full-time thing in the future. Definitely. I'm learning more and more every day on how to become a better YouTuber, a better Anno player, better on every front, really. Even better in my delivery. So, today, we're going to be talking about the sailing ships. And we'll start off by discussing the sailing shipyard. The sailing shipyard. That's what I was actually saying before I was going to get tongue-tied. So, I already discussed the sailing shipyard once in a previous episode, but I want to do it one more time very briefly. So, the sailing shipyard is going to take 100 of your workforce every time you are to click on any of these ships. It does not matter the size, it does not matter which one it is, they're going to take 100 flat, okay? So make sure that you always have some workers just in the bank. I'm going to show you really quick. So we have 191 available, and we're going to go ahead and click on this ship of the line. And as you can see, it's consuming the maintenance cost, which is also 100. It's taking the goods necessary to build the ship, and it's also taking 100 of our workforce, which we now have 91. If you want to get rid of this ship and you don't want it anymore, simply hover over it, hit that trash can. If we could throw the editor in the trash can at the same time, I'd do it. I hate this man. So, do note that you start off with 5 ships in total at the early to mid-tier part of the game. Now, you unlock all of these after you reach a certain amount of artisans. I believe it's 900. I will double check, and I will put it in the description. You have 5 ships to choose from. I'm just going to get this guy away from me. You have the Schooner, which we're already familiar with. We have the Gunboat, a Frigate, a Clipper, and a Ship of the Line. We're going to go over each one of these in depth, and right now I think it's important for me to insert this before we get to that point. These are my personal opinions on these ships. What I would like for you all to do is play around with them regardless. Even though I may not like some of them, I will tell you the reasons, but I would definitely like you to test them out on your end because everybody's playstyle is different. Okay, that's important to recognize, and definitely let me know what you think. Okay, so let's jump on over. I've already built one of each of these ships, and we're going to discuss each one of them. Okay, let's get started. So let's start off with the Schooner. We're already familiar with this ship. We have a couple already fielded in this particular playthrough, and this ship is, in my opinion, a very reliable one to start off, okay? You're not going to get a hell of a lot of value from a Schooner, okay? Obviously, because it has 2 cargo slots and 1 item socket. But the good thing with a Schooner is that it can be fast, okay? And what you want to use a Schooner with, primarily, is either, like, one type of massive trade, which, like, for example, in our situation, we have the soap trade, or 2, to transport stuff to and from an island that's relatively close. The maintenance cost on this is only 15 coins, so that's pretty good. The downsides to this ship are that it only has 1,000 hit points, and it only has the 1 item socket. So really what you would put in that is like a better sail to make it go faster, or like maybe a specialist that would increase its hit points if you're going a longer duration, you don't want the pirates to attack you. It's really kind of just that all-rounder, but it gets outclassed very quickly. And we'll talk about the ship that outclasses this one, but at the same time, the maintenance costs associated with that one are going to be more. So I would recommend this. Would I say to actually like spam this out? Probably not, because then it's actually going to be like something you're probably going to take to Archie and sell, which is not a bad thing either. But at the end of the day, just like maybe 3 or 4 would suit you early game. The next ship we're going to be discussing is your first technical military grade ship called the Gunboat. The Gunboat is going to require weapons in order for it to be built up. As you can see on the bow, it has 2 cannons. Okay, so this means that this ship actually has to be facing bow forward in order to fire. That's firing arc. It's not going to shoot around it. It will have an AoE around, which if you were to pan the camera like this and then zoom out, you probably will be able to see the AoE to some degree. I'll be able to show it with the other ships a little bit more effectively. But the difference here is that the Gunboat only has room for 1 cargo slot, but 2 item sockets. The reason why it has 2 is because this is a military ship. That is what it's designed to do. It's designed to fight. The problem is that this ship has less hit points than a schooner. So I personally stay away from using gunboats. The only time that I actually use gunboats is to sell them. If you want a surefire way of making a little bit extra cash, you can go ahead and build a couple one of these, sail them over to Archie, sell them to him, and you'll make some money that way. Apart from that, you can use gunboats on escort missions. What the escort mission pretty much is pretty much attaching the ship itself to another one of your ships, and you'll see a shield icon. Your cursor essentially becomes a shield icon, and if you right click it, then it says it's escorting the ship. And what happens is wherever this ship goes, this ship is following. And that's a good thing to have, but in this particular situation, I would stay away from the gunboat personally. The next ship on our list, I'm just not even going to comment on its name, is called the Frigate. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with the Frigate, and I'll explain why. The Frigate is, on paper, a very, very good ship. Okay? It's got a lot of guns, so you can see it. Problem is, this ship will lose to your flagship. 9 times out of 10, it will lose to your flagship. Even though it's got all those guns and your flagship only has like 5 on each side. 5 or 6. So here's my personal take. The Frigate is good for escort only. It's really good to protect your trade routes, especially if you have really active pirates. They will deal damage, but what I will caution you is make sure you build like at least 2 or 3 of them and then attach them to your trade ship. One alone is not going to be good enough. These things are very weak. They only have 1,000 more hit points than a schooner does, so they're essentially like paper. That being said, its damage output is not too bad. It's 140 damage per shot, and its attack speed is 5 seconds, so that means you're getting 28 damage per second. It's not bad, but the other thing about this is it has 3 cargo slots, but 2 item sockets, okay? So unlike the gunboat that only had the 1 cargo slot and 2 item sockets, you're not really gaining much from this. So would I personally go and actually put specialists into a frigate to make it better? No, I wouldn't, because I know its only use is to protect my trade routes. Alternatively, you can also build a couple of these and sell them to Archie. I personally wouldn't do that. This is a much more expensive ship to do that with, and it's a little bit more valuable. The smaller ships you can do that with, not with this one. Set this only for your trade routes. If you're going to war, and if you're like, let's say, if you're in a situation where you're going to be going up against another NPC, or you're with a buddy of yours, stay away from this one. You can have them as more of a defensive capacity, but never for offensive. They are like paper. They will die before they get like maybe 2 or 3 shots off. But again, I might be putting them like right on the front line to watch them a little bit die and whatnot, but that's just me. It's not a bad ship. It's just not something I personally like to spam. Okay, it's good for your trade routes. The next ship is the Clipper. This ship outclasses the schooner completely, okay? Reason for this is this ship has 4 cargo slots, it has the 1 item socket, and it is meant to go overseas. So that means your whole enterprise, both interregional and international, will essentially be run early game to mid game by Clippers. 4 item slots is really strong. And this ship has the tendency of being pretty fast too. So what I like to do in this situation is actually attach frigates to this. So we'll have 2 or 3 frigates attached to this one clipper if we're going to be doing this. And, you know, always factor in the fact that their maintenance costs and whatnot to protect this ship on whatever it's doing. What I recommend primarily for these ships is a better sail to be put into item socket, not somebody that will increase its hit points or its loading and unloading speed. The reason for that is because you're going to be going across and overseas constantly. You want this thing to be fast, okay? Your other ships will tail them, so don't worry about it. It will go based off of this one's speed. This one's the leader. So a good example would be getting rum from the New World, or cotton fabric, or I don't know, any other good, like maybe beer, if you want beer from the other side, because you can produce beer on the other side now. Fertilizer. These things are really good ships to bring over to the old world and vice versa. Definitely recommend this one. This is a ship that you will end up spamming. So it has 2,500 hit points and 175 maintenance costs. Not a big deal. Wouldn't recommend selling this ship either to Archie. The only time that you would is when you're trying to change these out for better ship variants that are going to be happening later on in the game when we reach the end of mid-game to late game, which there are more ships definitely, and you want to definitely take advantage of those. But the Clipper, 10 out of 10 ship. Love this thing. It's fantastic. And finally, the big beefy boy himself, the ship of the line. This thing is an absolute monster. I love using ships of the line, but the only downsides these things have are the fact that they're slow and they can be very inaccurate at times. That being said, they are like tanks. So pretty much what you want to do, if you're going to war with somebody, this ship is the one that you would spam, okay? It is pretty expensive, but it's also got 4,000 hit points, okay? But it has double the damage output of a frigate. Over here with 52 damage per second, that's 525 damage per shot. Actually, that's quadruple, isn't it? I'm probably doing the math wrong. But it is a little bit slower on its attack speed. So what you're trading here is greater damage for a little bit of attack speed. Do it anyway, because naturally you probably have an armada here of like 10 to 15 ships of the line, and you will just absolutely dominate, okay? The cool thing about this one is it has 3 cargo slots, so you are still capable of transporting some stuff if you want. Not advisable though. And it has 3 item sockets. So what you can do with these ones, if you choose to go like later on into late game with these particular ships, which I've seen people do, I was actually considering about doing the same, is having specific specialists to A, increase your attack speed, B, increase your defensiveness, and C, to increase your overall ship speed, which that is pretty important. This ship is 10 out of 10. Again, the only problem of it is that it is inaccurate at times, but let me show you that radius one more time. So if we zoom out this way, we can probably see a firing arc. And as you see, it's the purple one on the outside. So it's the same when it deals with the frigate. It's the same when it deals with the gunboat. As you can see, as we get better in the ship variants, the radius becomes larger. There are also specialists that increase this firing arc radius, but they are like epic and legendary levels, which you probably won't be getting early game. But at the same time, they're definitely stuff to look at. And also, while we're here, it really depends on which DLCs you have for this. So I'll go based off of that. Each one of these ships is capable of having different ship skins. So like for the Schooner, if you go here at the top right, you can change the ship skin by clicking this button. And I have 3 over here. So I have the base skin, I have the regal plating, and I also have the autumnal red aesthetic. So that would be for that look. We also probably have the same for this one. So you have the classic, the regal, and the red one. So we'll put this one for that one. We also have the same for this. So it's kind of basic, really. This ship has more. I do have a club skin for this one. If you choose to become part of the Anno club, you can get that one. But it's this ship skin, this color. If you like it, fantastic. If not, you also still have the regal and the other one. And then the ship of the line is the one that actually has the most in the game, and we're going to go through it. The basic ship of the line, you have the regal plating again, you have the red one. There is a Man of War 1701 edition, which I personally like this one a lot. You also have the 2 million player celebration skin, which it also puts it onto the sails if we can actually get it to go a little bit further forward. So it has it right there. It also does have a little bit of aesthetic in the back from time to time. Then we also have 2 ship skins over here, but this is from a scenario. So we have the bronze and we have the silver. There is a gold variant to this in which the sails pretty much changed along with a little bit of the exterior. And then this one is from the most recent pack for Pirate's Cove. This is a pirate version of the ship of the line. So there are a couple of cool things. So just to recap and overview and all this stuff, recommend the Schooner, don't recommend the Gunboat. Recommend the Frigate to only do this. Build like 3 or 4 of these, or 2 or 3 to protect one clipper. Clippers are going to be the ones that you're going to be spamming a lot for your trade, inter-regional and overseas. And then obviously ship of the line is your big beefy bruiser. Okay, now in the next episode, I want to talk about the island defenses. Okay, because island defenses are going to be really important on how you actually deploy these ships and how to properly navigate around them. Because I will tell you, there is one harbor defense that will absolutely decimate every single one of these in a matter of seconds. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in the next episode. I hope you guys found this one enjoyable. We went over the intro ships. There are more, so we're definitely going to have more episodes dealing with ships coming forward. But until next time, please consider like, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell button, sharing it with your friends. I hope you guys enjoyed, learned something. Let me know which ships you're going to actually work on. If you want to try to change my mind on the Frigate, more power to you. Sapphire tried. Okay, Sapphire is one of our governors in the Anno 1800 expert campaign series. Does that mean that I'm still going to try to pump them out? Probably not. But I will also say this before, ending off this episode. You don't need to protect your trade ships if the enemy doesn't exist. Okay? So get yourself some of these beefy boys and demolish the NPCs. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you on the next episode, my Rantians.